Hey, cosmic warriors, spiritual skeptics, or just a random confused human. Welcome to another dimension. It's time to sit down with me, your reluctant mystic Michelle, coming to you from the void between worlds to talk about some really interesting metaphysical stuff. Who am I? Just a human who's been thrown into this place called Earth, who has a lot of questions, born with a whole bunch of gifts, but not a lot of answers. So what this podcast is going to do is explore some paranormal mysteries, energetic phenomena, and a lot of FML moments that have you questioning, what the hell are we doing here? So if you're spiritual or you're just really confused, this is the right place for you. So join me if you like riding the waves of the quantum ocean and getting really down deep into the WTF of what's going on here. Because, as I always say, they're legit. There's no way I signed up for this. So if you're ready for a wild ride, let's go. Let's talk about one of the joys of being an empath. Because, we have so many. And for those of you who are just tuning in to this podcast or just kind of found us, this, like the intro said, is going to be a conversation about a lot of the things that mainstream really doesn't talk about. And when I use the phrase empath, also known as highly sensitive person, right? Those are two phrases that are getting much more acceptance into the mainstream versus, I can read energy, or I can pick up energy. But if we want to pull science into it, everything is energy. Everything. And we already know that wonderful equation, E equals MC squared. It's really the foundation of everything that this podcast is. So, in the sense, people can look at this and say, oh, this is just metaphysical, pseudo science. You would say it's pseudoscience. But it's really based off of the simple equation of E equals MC squared, which was discovered by my friend Einstein, who was also a Pisces sun, Sagittarius moon. So, just saying, So when I say I can read energy, it's the same phrase, or, when people talk about reading the room. Read the room. What does that mean? Pick up on the energy of your surroundings so you know how to interact or act within that setting. Or when people say good vibes, what do you think vibes are? Vibration. What is vibration? Energy. So you see how this is all connected, right? But what happens when you pick up energetic pulses that aren't yours? And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So, can everybody pick up energy? For the most part, everybody has the ability to feel when something doesn't feel right. It's kind of a warning system that every animal, for the most part, has, right? You can have dogs or animals who can tell you when an earthquake's coming. I have a dog that goes insane hours before a thunderstorm shows up, and they're picking up something different in the energetic field. So yeah, every living thing, again, has the ability to kind of pick up on certain change in vibration. Now, if you want to get very basic, you have people who can tell when the TV gets turned on. Now, the newer TVs don't have that same hum. But back in the day, not to date myself, but back in the day when you would turn on a regular television, you can hear, you can sense it, you can feel it when a TV gets turned on. Sometimes people can hear when you turn a light on, the light bulb. So yeah, it's something that's in us. Now, you do have people who have a higher sense of abilities around that, and we call those empaths. So empaths pretty much can pick up emotion, feelings, vibration much stronger than other people. A good example that was in a television show, if you were familiar with the show Manifest, not the seasons that were on TV, but the season that came after on Netflix. Zeke, he was an empath. He was able to pick up emotions of other people. Some people can pick them up without touching you. Some people can touch you and pick it up. It's that friend who kind of calls you right when you need her to call you, or that cousin who texts you to see if you're okay right when you needed that text message. It's those individuals who seem to say the right things at the right time, even if you don't say anything to them at all. And again, it goes back to reading the room, right? So when we talk about feelings and emotions, what do we do when we can't figure out whose we're picking up? If it's yours or somebody else's? Because a lot of times empaths deal with issues where you can just be going about your day, and I'm speaking from lived experience here. You could just be going about your day and all of a sudden you just feel really sad. Or you feel really angry and you don't know why. And the flip side is, right, you can feel happy. Like I'm not just gonna say you only get the bad feelings. It's just the negative ones kind of stand out. I would love walking around the town or doing something and all of a sudden I just get so ecstatic. Like I could care less whose emotions I'm picking up. I'm just glad I'm experiencing them. But it's not the same when you pick up emotions of stress, of sadness, of anger, of depression, of grief. Those emotions aren't as fun to experience. So a lot of times when I'm working with clients, I find that I'll get those same questions like, I don't know, or how do I know if these are mine? Because I can't figure out where they're coming from. Or I don't know why I'm feeling so sad. Now, I will say this with every time I talk about behaviors and feelings and things of that nature. If you do feel that this is something that needs professional assistance, please seek that. But sometimes you'll just be going about your day and just feel really sad and you don't know why, or angry. So when this happens, the first thing I will do, and we're going into the actionable items section of the podcast. So if you're taking notes, I'm about to give you some steps. So the first thing I tell people to do is when that occurs for them is to stop and don't react to the emotion, but try to see if anything occurred throughout your day that you can connect that emotion to. And not just being able to recall your day, but how did you sleep? You know, because sometimes in dreams can wake up subconscious issues, and that could cause you to, or it could elicit an emotion. So you want to, okay, how did I sleep? Did I get good sleep? Did I dream? Do I remember the dream? No, I don't think I dreamt. Okay. Well, did anything happen today that made you sad? No. Actually, it's been a really, really calm day. Did you listen to anything on the television or listen to a song that could have reminded you of a time in your life where you were sad? No. So once you do your assessment, right? And I tell people that do your own assessment to see where that emotion or feeling or energy is coming from. Now, if you do all of your, assessment on yourself, now if you're able to pinpoint something, let's bookmark that and we're going to come back to it. But if you're not able to pinpoint something, now we're in the realm of it's You could be potentially picking up somebody else's feelings, emotions, energy. So the next thing I would say is ground yourself and make sure you tell yourself you are not this emotion. Okay, so that's step 2. Step 2, if you're writing this down. Number 1, do an assessment of your environment, of yourself. Number 2, ground yourself. And this can be helpful even if it is your emotion, but ground yourself. Do not fall into the emotion, right? You're going to observe the emotion, kind of like a cloud floating in, right? You're not fighting it, you're recognizing it, but you're not becoming it. This is sadness I'm feeling. I am not sadness, right? This emotion is grief I'm feeling. I am not grief. So you're going to separate yourself from that emotion. Kind of making it a third party, making it its own entity. Now we're going to assess that emotion and anything that could have happened or who it might be attached to, right? So we're talking about sadness here. Did anything happen to anyone that's close to you that would make them sad, right? Did somebody lose a job? Did someone think they were getting a promotion, didn't get it? Did someone not pass a test? Is somebody going through a breakup? Are you going through a breakup? Because let me tell you, if you're an empath, or you're in a relationship or were in a relationship where there was some type of spiritual connection there, that energy thread is most likely still attached. And every time that person thinks about you, or every time you think about that person, you're pumping energy back and forth through that thread. So it's very possible that the person you broke up with is feeling sad, upset, grief, and you can pick that up. So once you've done your assessment on yourself and you've checked the box that no, this emotion really shouldn't have anything attached to my situation, you're going to ground yourself, right? And tell yourself you're not this emotion that you're feeling right now. You want to experience it, but you don't want to hold on to it and become it. You want to let it go. So it comes into your world. You're looking at it. You're observing it. You're assessing it, right? To see, okay, if this isn't mine, then whose is it? If this isn't mine, then whose is it? Now, sometimes people, when this happens, they'll start checking on people, right? A lot of people say, they'll use the phrase, you were on my heart today, so I want to call and talk to you. That's just telling somebody they were picking up their emotion or their energy. When someone says you were on my heart and I wanted to talk to you, or when someone says, you just popped into my mind and I thought I needed to check in on you, they're picking up your energetic vibration. So it's not as metaphysically strange and mystical as people think it is. It's things that have been occurring for centuries. Because I'm almost positive. I'm not going to say with 100% certainty, but probably 97% certainty that everybody listening right now has either had somebody say, you were on my heart today, or you crossed my mind, or, I felt the need to check in, or it's happened to you where somebody just pops up in your head. You're picking up on their energetic frequency. So what's happening? So it's been happening. This is not some new age thing, right? So once you've determined it's not yours, and now that you feel that you've determined whose it is, say you have determined whose it is it someone that you need to check in on? Because sometimes the ego doesn't allow us to ask for help, but the soul will. Now follow me here. Sometimes the ego does not allow us to ask for help, right? Sometimes the frontal lobe in the brain rationalize the need out to ask for help. But one thing that frontal lobe, but one thing that cognitive ability that we have in our brain cannot do is stop the soul from sending out an SOS. So what is that? A soul sending out an SOS. So that's when their energy starts pulsing at certain vibrations and other people pick it up. That's why you get the phone calls. That's why you get the text messages, right? Just checking in. I don't know why you crossed my mind today. So I know if I'm feeling okay and I start to get a lot of people checking in on me, I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not as okay as I thought I was. Because apparently my soul was sending out an SOS. So if somebody's doing that, if you're picking up on somebody's call for help, it's okay. Because sometimes it's just somebody feeling as if there's somebody there who's available to help. You might not have to do anything other than send a text to say, hey, hope you're okay. You crossed my mind today. And that might be the only thing you need to do to facilitate a conversation. Or just to let that person know you care. So, our next step is, after you check in on the person, if you want to, you don't necessarily have to, but if you want to, you can. Now, if it's, again, after a breakup or something, you're not necessarily going to want to check in on that person, I'm assuming. I could be wrong. I'm assuming. But what we want to do is wrap it up and send it back, right? You're going to wrap it up and send it back with love. With love. Even if you guys might not have ended on the best of terms, you still wrap it up and send it back. So for me, I do this visually. I'll take that emotion, I'll wrap it up in a ball of light and send it back to whomever is pulsating or is coming from. And I say, I send this back with love and in peace. Especially if it's an emotion that's kind of icky. And 9 out of 10 for me, that works. I might have to do it a couple times depending on how intense that person is pulsating it back towards me. But 9 out of 10 it works. Now, is this something that the person knows that they're doing? Most likely no. There's not somebody sitting on the other side of the country feeling sad saying, I want this other person to feel sad too. Could it happen? Yes. I mean, stranger things have happened. But 9 out of 10, this is subconscious. This is an energetic fluctuation that somebody else picks up because you have a connection to that person. Think of how twins are, right? Or think of how the mother-child bond is, where a mom can pick up if something's wrong with her kid, or if a twin can pick up something's wrong with the child. The other twin, these are all examples of this. That energetic connection, spiritual bond. So, just as you are getting those energetic pulses coming to you, or you're picking them up, you can wrap it up. Again, for me, I put it in a white. I visualize putting the emotion into a white bulb, because I've already separated myself from the emotion, right? What step was that? Are you taking notes? You've already separated yourself from that emotion. So you're going to take it kind of like a cloud you pull out the sky, wrap it up in some gold, whatever, energy pulsing, and just send it back. Just push it back. I return it back with love and peace. Now you can say whatever you want to say. That's what I say for me, because it's easy to remember, and those two things are high vibrational, especially if this is a low vibration that you're getting. But however you feel you need to wrap it up and send it back, that's the final step. Again, you might have to repeat that step for a couple times, or more than a couple times, depending on what's going on. And sometimes you don't even have to get to that step. Sometimes it's giving a call or talking to that person And because their energy changes, what you're picking up changes too. Right? So it's kind of like a flow chart. Like, are you going to call the person, talk to the person, see if you can interact with that person? Then you don't have to do the other one. But if you're not, then you're going to go and send it back. So hopefully this helps some individuals who might have experienced this in the past and not knowing why I'm picking up this emotion. I don't like it, or who does it belong to? Again, your steps: assess yourself, right? Separate yourself from the emotion, observe the emotion, find out who it might be attached to. Then you're going to reach out to that person perhaps, or you're just going to wrap it up and send it back. So those are all the areas if it's not coming from you. Now, if the emotion is coming from you, that's different, right? You want to pinpoint where it's coming from, attach it to a situation or a circumstance, and then start to work it out in that regard. Because you might start to get a lot of check-in texts and calls because someone's picking up on your SOS. So hopefully this was helpful. And I look forward to the other episodes coming your way. So again, these are all here to help us in this experience we call life. Sitting here on this rock, floating in the sky, all together, this cosmic atmosphere. So thanks again for riding these cosmic waves with me. And as always, you guys take care, stay safe, and keep your eyes to the sky.